Just going to dive into what I think is the easiest shot, the most simplest shot around the green. Should be the go-to shot for virtually all your amateur golfers if faced with similar scenarios, and you should try and probably fit that in, depending on your ability level, for most of the shots. So you can kind of bump this shot through the fairway as well if you needed to, right? But this would be a typical place to sort of play it. You've got a little bit of fairway to carry, lots of green to work with. You just want to get the ball on the front and make it run up. That's the simplest way to get that ball close to the hole. Now, you could fly it most of the way and spin it and check it, and that's probably what we see on TV more often than not. But that comes at a higher level of skill, and for most, an inconsistency to that. Easiest, simplest way is just to throw the ball on the front and let it run out. So how would I go about playing that shot? Obviously, my goal is I need the ball to come out a little bit lower and running. So I want it to go lower, which means I'm going to have to take some sort of loft off the club. So to turn this, which is a 52 degree, I want to turn that into, say, at that point, a 40 degree club. And I'm going to have more shafting to take some loft off it. Okay, so that's what I'm going to do with my setup. I'm going to want to have, in order to make that happen, I'm going to put the ball further back in my stance so I can take the loft off. So it's going to look a lot more like that at my setup. I'm not going to have the ball back and keep my hands back, so I've still got the same loft. I'm not going to have the ball forward and hands forward because I'll start to get my arms away from where my body would be. Okay, so ball's back, hands are almost going to stay in the same position as they would normally, but now obviously I've got a lot of shafting. Goal during the swing would then just be return it back to that same point. So I would feel probably a little bit of I just have a slight hinge or whatever as you go back. But my goal coming through is I want to return it back to that same point where I started. If I can return to that same point, the club head's now not going to pass my hands anywhere near as quickly as if I was to hit sort of a lofted shot where that club head would start to work past my hands a lot faster. Okay, so this one's going to be a lot more sort of club head level behind the hands, so to speak, rather than letting it kind of whip underneath the ball. I'll obviously put more loft on it, make it go higher, the opposite thing of what we want. Now, the one part of it that people miss more often than not is what having that shafting tends to do to our club face. So the more we push our hands forward, the more we push it forward, the more the club face starts to open up to the right. Conversely, if we push our hands back, the face would point to the left. Now, when we go for this setup where the ball goes back in the stance, hands are forward, a lot of people I'd see hit this shot and they have good technique, but the ball goes to the right and maybe even a fraction higher than they intended, so it doesn't run out in the same way as they wanted. That's just because they're missing that key ingredient of when the ball goes back, we actually have to feel like we twist the face slightly shut in order to make it go square, or for the face to be square, I should say. Now, if that face is square, at that point that ball should pretty much miss this and start on line. Okay, you can do a little bit of manipulation to make it not, but it gives you a great chance of starting the ball on line, which if you do that in this type of shot, it should be pretty easy to get the ball somewhat near the hole. So the key as we go back in the stances, like I say, is to feel like we twist that grip slightly open. It will feel to you, or look potentially like it's pointing slightly closed or slightly to the left for a right-handed golfer here. However, it will be very square if you're looking at it from this angle. Now, the reason I popped a little alignment right in the ground just in front is basically to try to get that on our line to the target. Now, a lot of you should practice being able to just hit that. It's sort of like 4 or 5 paces in front of me. I want the ball taken off, and I should be able to hit that stick more often than not. Now, if I can do that, I know that my club face must be pretty square, so I'm going to hit the line I intended, and then I can easily practice then how much the ball can release from that. So if the face is open and you're missing it to the right a lot, feel like you close that face a little bit, the ball goes back in the stance. Again, I always feel like my weight is slightly onto my left hand side from that setup. I want to feel like I'm on my left, not level, don't want to feel level. If I'm level, going to the ball back in the stance, I'm probably going to move back to it. Also, if that weight is a little bit left, we don't want to be then moving back to the golf ball. We want to be left, if anything, going more to the left as we go through the shot. We want to increase the pressure on our left leg. Even our head moving to the target isn't a bad thing. Most really good chippers do that. So, ball goes back in the stance, hands are forward, turning the club face a little bit more closed, a little bit shut, so to speak, as we shut to what we think it should be, square in reality. And then from there, If you've got a little stick in front of you, can you hit that stick over and over again and get some nice chipping runs as you kind of develop that shot? Like I say, this is the simplest of shots, the easiest one to repeat time and time again, and what should be your kind of go-to one around the greens without trying to do anything fancy, flying up in the air, spinning it, anything like that.